Hi everyone! So I've been playing around with particles and I've discovered a very neat trick which allows you to add tons of new dust particles to your particle creations. So if that's all you wanted to see, here are the commands on the screen, but I'll explain some additional functionality. So the way you'd usually get a particle command, a particle, is by changing these three values over here. These are the red, green and blue. And you'd usually want to change them between 0 and 1, so this would be blue. And this blue does match quite nicely with this huge value. However, when you decide to go for other colors, such as yellow for example, which would be 110, the yellow you get is kind of green and not very bright at all, not the yellow you'd expect. This is increasingly apparent if you go for white. This white looks terrible, it's pink, it's grey, it's definitely not white compared to this. And I want to reiterate that this is not a cloud, this is not a poof particle, so this really is a dust particle, which allows you to add tons of customization to it via the speed, the size, etc. So the way this works is if you were to increase the brightness of a particle normally, you'd change the value, you'd increase it, the value that you want the color, the brighter color, right? So in this instance, I'm starting with a red of 0 almost, and going up to 1. This changes the brightness of the particle, right? However, if we go from 1 to 100, the brightness really doesn't seem to increase. In fact, all it does is increase the variation of the dark and the bright spots. So with the, let's say, 10 or 100 red, you'd get a bunch of bright red particles and a bunch of dark red particles, but no consistency. So the way you fix this is by, just give me a second to change the relative coordinates so that you can see better. So the way you change this is by inputting a very high value, any value over 18 million, to your desired color. For example, this is red. And so this is the color you get. I do not know why 18 million seems to be the magic number. In fact, it's any value over 18 million. My best guess is that the spread is so high that the game approximates the color that you're supposed to get and gives you this bright red. However, this isn't all. The very neat part about these high values is that you can also increase the brightness even further by changing up the other two values, by changing up green and blue. For example, I change the green and blue from 0 to 1 to go from red to this really bright pink, right? Almost the white. However, if you can see, the white here uses all values, the 18 million of all values. Going from 1 to 18 million in these green and blue values does not seem to increase the brightness further. So if I were to demonstrate this to you, this would be the brightest red that you can get. However, increasing them further would also increase the variation and not the brightness itself. This leads to some very cool particles, such as this cotton candy effect. This is my favorite. This is like a majestic lavender color. And this is a really yellow, a really bright yellow, a really white yellow, which sort of looks like melted butter. This also does seem to work with the dust color transition particle. However, I do have to give an epilepsy warning. It glitches a bit. But you might find some unique ways to showcase these particles. I feel like this is going to be very useful in particle generators and particle converters, as these use the regular values from 0 to 1. Therefore, they struggle very much with the brighter colors. In fact, white would be almost impossible to do with these converters right now. So I'd love to see that incorporated. As far as I know, I haven't seen anyone else talk about this, but if you do know someone who's discovered this before, please do let me know in the comments. I'd love to give them credit for that, and I'd love to spread this cool trick. Thank you very much for watching.